Hi, Tom from BK Nutrition, and today I'm going to talk about how to get in shape at 40 years old. Now, my niche, which I deal with in my one-to-one program, is people, well, men I should say, from 35 to 50 generally. So I have a really specific and specialist knowledge in this area, because most of the guys that come to work with me are around about 40 years old, and a lot of them do say they want to be getting in shape for their 40th birthday, because it's seen by many guys as this sort of this watershed event where everything up to 40 is one side of life and everything over 40 is another side of life. Now, I'm 42 at the time of filming this video, and I too, coming up to my 40th birthday, had I'm getting to be 40 soon, maybe I should be doing something different with my life. It's quite common to happen, and for a lot of the guys I work with, it's this, right, I'm 40 soon, I want to be in the best shape of my life going into my twilight years, or whatever you want to think about, and it's something that I deal with very often. So I thought I'd do a video on a general overview of the techniques I use with guys around about the age of 40 to help them get into better shape, for them to build better bodies and to be more confident about themselves. Because what I generally tend to find is that a lot of guys I work with have their own businesses, they have families, and those two factors can come in the way sometimes of you trying to keep a good shape. And a lot of the guys I work with have they do train in the gym, they do work out, they enjoy training in the gym, but the pressures of business, the commitments they've got for their businesses, and also the commitments they've got with their families have sort of got in the way, if that's the right word, of their tasks or their job of keeping in shape, and they see 40 as this, right, I'm 40 soon, I've built my business, I'm doing right in my business, my family's doing okay, I want to focus on me now, and that's generally where I start working with them. So I'm going to go through some of the factors I deal with, and hopefully you'll take something from this. Now, obviously, you don't have to be 39 to appreciate this video. These techniques will work for most people around about the over 30 range. What I'm going to be talking about is the difference between, say, training when you're younger and training when you're older, and some of the factors you might want to consider as an older trainer that you didn't have to consider when you were 25 and the world, nothing would stop you from training and you never got injured. Okay, so first of all, a lot of what I get is that people think 40 is this sort of like that it's the getting old side of things, and there's also this this thought that it's going to be harder to get into shape once you get past 40. So that getting to this 40-year-old, if I don't get in shape before I'm 40, as soon as I'm 40 years old in one day, that's going to be a lot more difficult. Now, there is some credence to that. It is harder to get into shape when you're getting older, because certain processes in the body do tend to slow down, or they tend to degrade a little bit. And I think when you get past sort of 35, 36, you're always fighting a slightly uphill battle in terms of building and maintaining new muscle tissue. And there is a condition called sarcopenia. As you get older, the body tends to degrade more muscle tissue. So I'm going to come on to that in a minute, about things we can put in place to ward that off. And certainly if you're watching this and you'll say 50 or 60, that'll be really relevant to you, because you'll know how hard it is to continually to maintain or to build new muscle as you're getting older. For many, 40 is like a milestone that they get into, and they must have accomplished things by the time they're 40. A lot of guys, when they're coming up to their 40th birthday, have a life event they want to do. So say like doing a triathlon, climbing a mountain, all these things that I want to do that before I'm 40. And so for the guys that I work with who love going to the gym, love working out, they want to be in the best shape of their life by 40. Now, the mistakes that a lot of people do make in this situation, because they see this 40-year-old or the 40th birthday coming up, and a lot of them do leave it maybe a little bit too late to start getting into shape. They tend to incorporate a lot of extreme measures. So it'll be, I'm 40 in like 2 months' time, I must do something about that right now. And this then leads into, they go on restrictive diet patterns, or do like really extreme protocols such as like 75 hard. If you don't know what 75 hard is, it's 75 days where, ironically, if you're 2 months away from your 40th birthday, you won't accomplish it in 75 days. But again, 75 hard is where you do a certain protocol for like no cheating. You must do a certain amount of exercise a day. Some of this must be outside. Drink certain amounts of water, etc., etc. I'm not sure of the exact protocol, but I have seen enough people do it to know what the highlights of that are. I'm quite down with that sort of stuff, you know, like having a routine and having a building habits and building strong habits, the stuff that will get you into the right frame of mind, which is what 75 hard is about. It's getting you in the right frame of mind for change. What I don't agree with, no cheat food. I don't agree with that because that is saying that some foods are good and some foods are bad, and that's directly against what I teach in terms of food is food. It's just how you incorporate it into your daily nutrition and your daily lives. You know, you should be able to enjoy food. You should be able to enjoy the odd treat, if you want to call it that, you know, in moderation, as long as you put that into your calories. So I don't agree with the elimination of foods, because things like that are what I'm dead against in terms of, right, you're not eating any cheat foods for 75 days. So what happens when you get to day 76? It's a binge fest on donuts, etc., etc., and you maybe undo a lot of the hard work that you've done. But I do agree with some of the other stuff, as in training and getting those disciplines of getting up at a certain time, etc., etc. So I do agree with some of it, but not all of it. But these restrictive practices are things that I see a lot of people doing. They incorporate things like cutting out carbs, cutting out all meat-based stuff. Essentially, you know, the extremes of diets. I've seen a lot of people talking about. It's called the liver man or something like that. The guy who only eats stuff that he hunts on his ranch or something and gets into shape. All these weird things that people do, and all these weird things that people promote have generally come packaged with, you too can do this if you buy this diet plan, or you buy this extreme thing, 30 days to get shreds, that sort of thing. And that's where I see a lot of people who are trying to get in shape for their 40th birthday, they go to, because they must have it now and must be done immediately. They must do something extreme because they feel as though they're in such bad shape that they must have to do something extreme to turn that around. So I want to say right now is that you probably aren't in the shape, the worst shape of your life. Let's say, you know, some people are in really bad shape, but you too can do something about that. You don't need extreme measures, whatever the shape you're in order to change your body, change your lifestyle. And actually, what I found working with people is when they change very small things, 1% at a time, and move that compass just 1 degree each time, each day, towards the goal they want to achieve. Those are the people that generally, well, I would say 99% of the time, stay with that change they've accomplished after they've finished working with me or finished the program or whatever, because they've built effective systems. They haven't just gone all out on a goal-based approach of, I must be in that shape for that day, as in the birthday, and I don't care what I have to do, I'm going to do that to get into that shape. That's akin to the bodybuilding competition side of things that I've spoke about before, the goal-orientated versus systems-orientated approach. Now, I'm not saying it's not good to do a bodybuilding diet to get ready for a show because you're doing something for competition, but when you're doing it for your 40th birthday, what do you win when you accomplish this thing? Is someone going to turn up on your 40th birthday and go, hey, you've got into awesome shape, here's a trophy, and now what are you going to do? Because most people will have not thought past 40 in one day. They're just thinking about, I want to get to 40 and look good, do a photo shoot, whatever, which is great because that's a good accomplishment to aim for. I want to get in shape to do this photo shoot. But you must have a plan past that day, past the time where you've finished your 40th birthday or photo shoot, whatever. You must have systems in place in order to continue that forward. Because the thing about the 40th birthday is it's a turning point in your life. Now, if you haven't put the systems in place already to be able to eat well, train hard, look good in the mirror, feel confident about yourself, if you've not put those systems in already so that you're going to accomplish that, whatever shape you get into on your 40th birthday, if you've just done it through extreme measures, that's all you know about how to keep in shape. And as I said before, it does get more and more difficult to get into good shape and maintain it past a certain age. So if you're just going on all out, you know, restrictive diet, nothing else matters apart from getting into this shape, you're very quickly going to come unstuck when you stop doing those things. So the way I coach is very much about building systems. We change one thing at a time, change little things. We work on improving the workouts. We work on improving the food that people eat, and knowing about the food and having the knowledge about that food, so that they know if they eat this, that they then have to compromise by maybe reducing this. It's not just about no cheat meals, training 7 days a week, that sort of thing. The other thing I find is that if someone has a history of weight training, so say I find this with a lot of, say, bodybuilders I work with and who have previously competed, or they've previously done bodybuilding to some degree, and what they do is when they have a long layoff or whatever, they come back to it and it's like, right, well, how did I used to train? I'm going to train like that again. And what that means is they're going to start training like they did when they were 25 or 26, go back into the gym, doing loads of heavy squats and heavy deadlifts and everything else. And very quickly, you can probably appreciate what's going to happen here, they get injured. And because they haven't got the recovery capacity or the ability they had when they were younger, they try and do those workouts they had when they were younger, when they were in good shape, and they look at the photos they had before. Oh, look at what I used to look like. I can get that way again by doing that sort of training again. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen. I do not train now like I used to when I was 25, 26, purely because I would be injured very quickly if I did that sort of training. I was lifting heavier at that time. I was training more days a week, 5, maybe 6 days a week. My diet was pretty much spot on with my bodybuilding, because I was competing bodybuilder. And I did things then which I don't do now. So if I was to go back and try and relive the golden years of trying to be, training 5, 6 days a week or whatever, smashing all this volume and all this other stuff I was doing back then, I would get injured really quickly. Now, I'm still in great shape. 42 years old, I still have a lot of muscle. I have a lean body fat. Although I'm not in competition shape, I'm still looking very good. I'm not as big as I used to be, of course, because I'm not training for bodybuilding competition, but I still incorporate the types of training methodologies that I used to use when I was 25, but I've adapted them for when I'm older. So I don't go to maximal weights. I don't do lots of deadlifts, as in from the floor. I don't do this type of training that I used to do. I used to do stuff like stupid stuff for legs, which was like really high volume weights and everything else. I remember one of my training partners, Emil, we did training where we did we did the assisted squat, like the safety squat bar. We used to do like 20 reps on that and then walk over to the hack squat and do 20 reps of that and then do some other stuff. Stupid stuff that when I was younger I could get away with. Like 70 reps on leg press, that sort of stuff. There's videos of me doing that when I was younger. If I tried that now, my knees wouldn't like it, my back wouldn't like it. So I don't train that way anymore because I just haven't got the capacity to do it. But the problem you find is that people who have previous experience with weights and being in good shape, that's all they know. So when they come back to trying to get in shape when they're 40 or 39 or whatever, that's how they train, and they very quickly get injured. So make sure, if you are in this position and you're going back to training after a long layoff, etc., make sure you adapt what you're doing for your reduced recovery ability as you're older. And that goes for even if you're using certain anabolic compounds, you're still not going to be in the same type of recovery ability you were when you were that age. So just bear that in mind, because I have seen a lot of people get injured because they are trying to recreate the golden years of what they used to do and what they used to look like. And I've been a victim of this myself, trying to emulate some of the workouts I've done in the past. It just does not work. Okay, so the other thing I talked about is a short-term goal. You have this short-term goal of, I must be in shape for my 40th birthday. What we really need to be thinking about is the long-term implications of that. So make sure when you're adjusting your diet and you're adjusting your training, you can do that for the long term. Remember, a diet is not just for 90 days or whatever. A true diet is one that you could stick to all your life and adapt it to the changing circumstances. So my diet now looks a lot different to when I was competing. Obviously, I incorporate more things. I have like ice cream and beer and stuff like that, which I didn't used to drink or eat at all really when I was competing. Still maintain a good shape because I've incorporated those calories into my lifestyle. And my training is now 3 to 4 days a week, sometimes 5 days a week depending on my childcare. But the thing is, I don't train like an hour and a half smashing weights for high volume and then doing like 40 minutes cardio afterwards. I just don't do that sort of stuff anymore, so I've got to reduce my calorie intake to account for that. So make sure the stuff that you are going to do for your 40th birthday or get in shape for your 40th birthday is something that you can adapt and continue doing afterwards to maintain that great shape you're going to get into. Okay, the other thing is that people think 40 is some sort of like turning life event. I can tell you that when I was 39 and when I was 40, there was no real difference there. Although over the years I have found that my recovery ability has got lower, which I've talked about before. But it's no sort of life-changing event. Going to 40 is no life-changing event. It's just in your head in terms of, I want to be 40 and I want to be in great shape. Use it as, it's a goal to get to. I want to be in good shape by the time I'm 40. But remember, build those systems so that you've got those things in place so you can keep doing those things when you're 50, when you're 60. Because if you haven't got the systems in place when you're 40, when you get to 50, you're going to get the same sort of niggle, the same sort of thing in your mind that you've got to be in great shape. And if you haven't laid down that foundation and those systems when you're 40, you're going to find it even harder to get into that condition when you're 50. Okay, so here's a list of bullets of maybe the things you should incorporate to get into this great shape for your 40th birthday. Okay, first of all, like any body transformation, start about 12 to 16 weeks out with a plan for very small incremental changes to get you to that point. Don't try and do it in 6 weeks. That's just not going to happen. Incorporate more volume training. So when I work with guys who are training for, getting into shape for their 40th, 50th birthday or whatever, we always look at volume training. It's not heavy weight focused. It's all about hitting failure between 7 to 12 reps. I do go higher volume, and of course we do lower stuff, say 5 or 6 reps, but mainly we're between 7 to 12 reps for most exercises, around about 3 to 4 sets per exercise, and we're looking at around about between 3 to 4 exercises per body part per session. That allows you to hit good volume, good weight, hit the failure signal, and burn a whole lot of calories, which all these things you're going to need to get into shape. Target 2 to 3 muscle groups in a workout. Now, if you're from the old school bodybuilding, you're going to think, how do I do that? Because when I train legs, for example, I'm smashing them into oblivion and I couldn't do another body part. Yeah, you're going to have to rethink your training a little bit. We want failure signal, we want volume, but we don't want to be being rolled out of the gym in a wheelchair. That's not going to be good for reduced recovery ability as you're older. So when I'm training legs now, I'm looking at potentially 3 to 4 exercises, some sort of maybe leg extension, some sort of squat movement, a leg press movement, and maybe some sort of lunges. That's generally how I focus my workouts. I do vary these things, so there's whole loads of different exercises you could do for a squat, for a leg press type, for a lunge. There's so many options you can do. Don't believe me? Go and have a look at my videos on YouTube. I've uploaded tons and tons of different variants of workouts with dumbbells and barbells and Smith machine and all that sort of stuff. So look to target 2 or 3 body parts in a session. So you might do, say, legs, for example, or legs is 2 body parts. You've got hamstrings and quads there. So maybe do quads, hamstrings, and you might want to do calves at the end. Other combinations I've thrown together, I've done chest and quads, for example, with biceps. I've done back and hamstrings with, say, triceps. So the sort of the pattern here is 2 major body parts and then 1 extremity body part. So extremity body parts would be, say, biceps, triceps, traps maybe, and calves. And the main body parts would be chest, shoulders, back, hamstrings, and quads. So if you think that through, you could get 4 workouts in a week where you pretty much hit each body part twice a week. And that comes on to my next point, is really what we want to be doing is sending a failure signal to the muscles twice a week. In studies, this has been shown to be more beneficial for hypertrophy, muscle building, rather than just 1 smashing overload body part in a week. And I've seen some research as well point to, say, if you were to massively overload the body in 1 session and then you get this muscle protein synthesis signal for adaption, what happens is that when they gave these people like these massive overload workouts or a general workout that stimulated failure, the ones with the massive overload workouts did grow, but it was actually less compared to the people who stimulated failure and had some in the tank afterwards. What's postulated here is the fact that if you completely destroy a muscle, that's got to be built back up before it can grow. And if you've only got a certain amount of muscle protein synthesis signal to build that muscle back up, if you're going to use loads of it on repairing the muscle, you haven't got enough left for building the muscle. That is a complete oversimplification, and science people will probably message me saying, oh, you got that wrong, you haven't talked about this, this and this. But I'm talking to my audience here. My audience don't want to be baffled with science and p-values and everything else. Just think about it. If you're overloading the muscle too much, you haven't got enough to grow and to repair at the same time. So most of my workouts now are built towards this failure signal but not crippling signal. And a good quote by Lee Haney, Lee Haney was 8-time Mr. Olympia, always talked about stimulate, don't annihilate. And that is absolutely true for bodybuilding. We want to stimulate the muscle growth. As soon as you've sent that signal for muscle growth, we don't need to keep sending it. It's like pushing a domino over. Once you've pushed it over and sent the signal, you don't need to keep pushing the domino. The signal's already been sent. So when you're going into your workouts, don't think about destroying the muscle group. Think about just sending that signal and then maybe working another muscle group. And there's some examples of this type of training in my Instagram and my YouTube and everything else. Let's think about it. Okay, so target train 3 to 4 days a week for a minimum. If you're training twice a week, that's going to be difficult to send enough signals to the body for adaption. But of course, anything is better than nothing. If you can train twice a week, great. Hopefully you can incorporate another training day into that. Most of the people I work with who get the best results are training 3 to 4 days a week. Some train 5 days a week, but I would say 4 is about the magic number where it needs to be. That's where most people are, and that's where most people I work with are, and they get great results. Add cardio in as you need. So a lot of people when they're starting these body transformations will say to me, oh, how much cardio do I need to do? And so, well, you don't need to do it right at the beginning because we've already created a calorie deficit with the diet. We're going to be burning more calories with the volume training. So really, we don't need to be adding in cardio. It's another variable we don't need at the moment. What I generally do is save the cardio for when they're more in that process of training 4 days a week with volume, doing the amount of sets and everything else, because what we do find is a lot of the time we're working with guys, actually we need to increase their calories because the volume training is such a demand on their system. And we might put some cardio in just as something to do afterwards, but I'm a big proponent of don't do exercises you don't like. Like I will not do cross training because I absolutely hate cross training. I will not sit on a bike and pedal because I hate doing that sort of stuff. I can probably walk on a treadmill for 10 to 20 minutes before I get bored. I can do some kettlebell circuits in a cardio aspect for about 10 to 20 minutes before I get bored. That's my type of cardio. So if you like doing cross training or bike, fine, go and do that, spin class, whatever, that's fine. But don't feel it's necessary in order to lose body fat, because body fat comes from burning up more calories than you ingest. If we can do that with weight training and we can do that with a calorie deficit of food which doesn't leave you massively hungry, then do that. I have got testimonials of people who have done no cardio and got into great shape. If they're on my website on bknutrition/testimonials, have a look at Andy's transformation. He did no cardio, just trained with weights and watched his diet and got into incredible shape. So you don't need cardio, but it can be a nice little thing to do if you want to put the icing on the cake. You might want to read my book, Target Lean. I always have it here when I'm doing these videos. This was the first one that I ever got printed. Target Lean will give you more insight into the techniques I use. I do talk about all those techniques in my videos as well. But if you want to buy a video and support me, great. That would be nice and helpful. Supplement with 2 to 3 grams of fish oils a day. The reason I say this as a specific to people over 40 is it has been shown in research that, and this is research done in people for 60 to 70 years old, but I think there is some relevance to when you get over 40, is if you're supplementing with fish oils at an older age, you generally can potentially enhance the muscle protein synthesis signal. What I mean by this is as you get older, that signal diminishes. If you add fish oils back into your diet at 2 to 3 grams a day, that can raise that signal up again. So it's not going to be beneficial if you're a younger person, say under 30. Adding fish oils to your diet doesn't enhance your muscle protein synthesis. It will not build more muscle, make you more anabolic. But if you're older, it potentially offsets some of the symptoms of sarcopenia, as in muscle wastage, and it might help you maintain and build more muscle than you would without those things. So 2 to 3 grams of fish oils a day, high dose EPA fish oils are the best from what I've seen. Think about the more holistic approach to your supplementation. As you get older, there's going to be more things, say, with your heart, with your liver, with your kidneys, that might become more important than they were when you were 20, 25. So I do supplement with a supplement called Support Max, which is by Strom Sports. There are other supplement companies who do similar types of things. I'm not affiliated with Strom at all. It's just a good supplement company, one I use a lot of their supplements. And Support Max does have things in there to help your circulation, to help your cholesterol, to help your liver and all these things. I do also use a supplement called glutathione, or it's called glutathione max, or glutathione if you're in America. That I have first thing in the morning. It's a super antioxidant. It helps just with my general health and with my liver health. It's something I do as a routine every single morning. I get up, I have a shaker full of water, and I add a scoop of this to it. I drink it when I'm stood outside to take in sun's rays and all that sort of stuff. Even in England, we do have the sun sometimes in the morning, and I do that as part of my daily routine to wake up and also to hydrate myself and to get in this antioxidant. It's very good. I've seen the results. I mean, I've not put on 10 pounds of muscle because of it, but I feel better. I generally perform better during the day with that routine. Is it part because I've just got a morning routine, or is it the supplement? I don't know. I can't track it because I haven't got my bloods and everything else done, but it helps me with my processes. It helps me with my stuff during the day, and I feel better because of it. So that's enough for me. Take from that what you will. You might want to use it. You might not want to use it. Only eat foods you like. This is the final point. So many people, when they're doing diets, will take on superfoods or smoothies or whatever else that they're told are going to help with, promoting this anti-aging or whatever else. And anti-aging is a big thing you're going to get hit with when you're over 40, especially on Facebook ads and all that sort of stuff. I get so annoying. As soon as I turn 40, anti-aging, recover your hair, just for men, Viagra, all that stuff got chucked onto my Facebook ads, so delete all the way off. You're going to get that come through, and all these mystical things. You're going to be told that fasting will help you promote long life and do all these magical things. There's no evidence to suggest that in humans that really supports the evidence for fasting. And if you're trying to build muscle, fasting is not going to be helpful for that, in my opinion. So be wary of that. You're going to get hit with all these things, superfoods, etc., etc. Chuck it all out the window. You don't need most of those things. Make sure you're constructing your diet out of foods you like. There's a guide on my website that will help you, and on my YouTube channel. I think it's called Build Your Perfect Diet in 30 Days or something like that. It's a half-an-hour walkthrough. It's a complete tutorial, incorporates the calorie system details from my book. If you follow that video, you spend half an hour and then another half an hour afterwards writing out the foods and building it all and using my fitness pal and everything else. All the tools to do that are on my site. If you want to spend the time doing that, they're there for you. You don't have to spend any money. If you do that, you will have a diet that's perfect for you by the end of it. Okay, that is it for the video. If you want to look at some of the people I've helped with their transformations, go to my website, bkimnutrition.com/testimonials. There's some videos there of people I've worked with. We walked through what we did, the changes in their body, how we had to increase carbs because their training was taking such a toll on them, the before and after pictures, all these things. I am good at what I do. I help people get into shape. They get into incredible shape. They learn the systems and they take it past, that sort of thing. If you want to know about working with me, fine, drop me an email, drop me a DM, or go onto my website and fill in the little form that I've got, and we can talk about that. There are loads of free stuff on my website to help you with this. I have free workouts that you can download to help you get started on your workouts. I have a test to show you where you are going wrong, which is called the Diet Ecosystem Test. I have videos that you can walk through. I have all these other things to help you do it yourself without paying me £1. And if you want to do those, great, go and do those things. I want to help 100,000 people change their lives with nutrition and training. All those things are there for you for free to go and have a look. If you want to talk about paid coaching, that's great. I'm happy to talk to you about that. But for now, I hope you've learned something from this, and I hope you can take something from this. Leave me some comments. If you want to ask me a question, I always respond to every comment. And thanks for your time, as always. I appreciate your time, it's very valuable. And I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.